So obviously when we talk about travel companies, in a way as a blogger or creative, I'm a brand myself. So what are the ways that I could use, in the same way travel companies could use social media advertising to both build and inspire my audience?
Yeah, I think social is a really interesting one because there essentially is a ton of data that you can start to leverage that's very rich. And also social platforms have started to change their inventory so that they're streamlining their format so that you, if you're buying video anywhere, you can also buy video on social platforms. So I think in terms of how people can start to leverage or use social media, the first is really taking a look at the rich pieces of data to locate niche targets that you'd like to activate against.
I know that I've seen, and I'm sure most people will have seen, adverts on the Facebook wall or feed that come along. Are there other ways that Facebook allows you to advertise?
Things like the Facebook Audience Network I think are really great because you're still leveraging rich Facebook data, but you're accessing these consumers in maybe other environments. I'm really excited and interested in advertising and messaging apps and what that's going to turn into. And just in general, just stronger sort of video executions that allow engagement and interaction across formats and platforms. A really good example that I love is a client can actually take their own personal CRM data. They can push it to a social platform like Facebook. Let's say these are people that have already purchased a specific product. You can then target those people within the Facebook environment, so using newsfeed ads or a video or a display ad. Or you can also use Facebook Audience Network to actually target using that same data source, but you're now targeting these people in other publisher destinations.
How does that work? Do they share data?
So Facebook has worked to build a network of publisher direct relationships that can use their data, essentially. So sometimes if you might be watching a video on a publisher site and you see an ad that's ran before it, the data set to identify you as a female that really loves travel might not necessarily have come from the publisher directly. It actually could have come from Facebook data.
That's a recurring theme because it's personalization and it's a good use of data, but it's also a little bit creepy.
It can seem creepy, but on the one hand, people want relevant advertising and they want to have a great experience. And so in order to really have that, there needs to be a trade-off. And I think you need to be able to give some sort of data for an advertiser to really give you a valuable experience.
That's an interesting way of looking at it. I will give it a bit of thought. Do you have any great examples of travel companies doing great things with social media?
A good example that I have is a brand that we have worked with a lot in the past called Thomas Cook, or TUI. And they are very focused on ensuring that they have a strong or rich content library to actually address the inspirational needs of the consumers that they're trying to reach. And they spread this content out everywhere. They use it on their own pages, so their websites, their YouTube page, their social media pages. I think they do a really great job of understanding the value of great, compelling content. So during our chat, you've mentioned a little bit about how creepy some of the advertising can feel.
I think if I'd just been searching and then within the next half hour I saw an ad, it wouldn't faze me. I'd expect that link to be there. I think probably what I find creepier is when it's on different platforms or a few days later. Sometimes you're on shared networks or shared computers in a household quite easily in your family, and so then you get somebody else that has been searching for something and because these ads pop up that sometimes seems a little bit strange. Well, there's definitely times when I've been quite pleased if it gets it right on the marks. That's the fickle consumer of today, basically. If you get it right, I like it. If it's not quite perfect, then I think people find it a bit frightening.
Social sometimes is seen in a silo and separate from other advertising executions, or do you see it as really something that's different and separate?
I think there can be something really authentic and interactive with a lot of social media that you don't get in the older forms. And so from that point of view, I do think it's different. Within social media, I think there are two clear ways that people tend to interact. One is networks where essentially they're tuning in for updates to their friends and family for intimate stuff, maybe a bit of entertainment. So typically I would say that's Facebook and WhatsApp. And then the other way is using it for things like news and information, which would be Twitter, for most people know that I know outside the travel industry. So I think it's important when we talk about social media that we don't think of it as one lump, but actually think, no, people use this in very different ways. And so that's what I think travel companies should think about as well. Thank you so much, Toccara. That was a really interesting chat. And thank you for tuning in. Of course, this is just one of 6 interviews with the experts here at Adobe. Please do tune in and watch the others at blogs.adobe.com/Digital Europe.